Good morning and welcome to Connections pre-show. My name is Layla.
And I am Andy.
And we are so grateful that you are joining us today.
Yes,
Good
we
morning.
are. Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We missed you.
I missed you guys.
You'll miss me next week.
Yeah, it's payback, right?
We're going to talk about it later, but yes.
Yes.
There is a reason I'll be gone, but...
A reason for the season of Andy never being here. Just kidding.
Ouch. Okay.
Oh,
I'll see you guys later.
Throwing out the punches.
Well, let's hope your punch lines are better than that, right, for your jokes.
Jeez.
Oh, boy.
Put in my place.
All right, before we get started, as always, I want to direct you to our QR code. That is our digital connections card. We would love to hear from you. Again, whether you've been watching for a while or if you've been this is your first time, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
How was your week?
Well, started off a little rough because
A
we
little
had
rocky patch, huh?
the sickness going through my family, and then of course I got it.
Of course.
Because that's what I deserve after taking care of everybody else who's sick.
Isn't that how it is? You're like,
yes.
whenever it happens in our house, and I'm just, for some reason, my nose, the faucet is turned on.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everything else, I'm fine. But I'm just like, oh, great, it's going to do that this morning? Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those, like, you keep dodging it, and you're like, I'm free. And then that last day, you're just like,
I know.
Wait a minute, something feels off. And then the next day, you're just like, nope.
Yep. I know. I was like, ooh, I'm
You
invisible.
thought you got out alive,
Yeah.
but the cold got you.
Yep. The snot's like, nah.
Well, we are glad that you and your family are feeling better.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good.
But yeah, and then I got to go on a date last night with the mister.
Yeah. Where'd you guys go?
We went to the Melting Pot in Grand Rapids, which was our first fondue
event
experience.
So tell me about the Melting Pot. I've never been.
So, I mean, it's basically like all of your food is with like some type of fondue type of thing. So, like our appetizer, you get to pick from different like fondue cheeses.
Okay. So, do they bring them out to your table as your stuff comes? Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like a little electric heating thing on the table.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was just really
So, you basically
neat.
have to prepare your own food?
Yes.
I'm out.
Yeah, well, but
No, I'm sure it's fun because it's
you
different
just, like,
than
stick it in, like
into
to
the fondue?
broth stuff. Yeah. And then they have like a rescue spoon, which is what I needed because like my things kept falling off. They fell off.
They have a rescue spoon. They're just gonna start calling it the Layla spoon.
I know.
You're like, look at that Layla
this is
over
so
there.
embarrassing.
Pardon me. Excuse me, ma'am. What's your name? Layla. Okay, thank you. Why? No reason.
Just so I'm gonna put this thing right
It's the
here.
Layla spoon. It's like, we've never seen somebody lose so much stuff in the fondue. That would be me too, because I'd be like, I think it's done, and then I'll quote.
Yeah,
I
where
need the
did it
Layla
go?
spoon.
Well, part of it was because I got like some of the raviolis.
Oh, yeah.
Those don't stay on the little stickers very
No,
well,
those
like
can be
meats
very,
do.
yeah,
So,
definitely. Okay.
I mean, the steaks.
So they have
stayed
everything:
on.
pasta, steak, meat,
Yeah,
desserts.
lots of seafood options,
Okay.
like lobster.
So
Well, not
what'd
lobster,
you
but like
have?
shrimp. I had steak
Ooh.
and then a ravioli and a pot sticker, like a chicken pot sticker.
Okay.
And they had
What about
different
dessert?
sauces.
Did you put chocolate on something?
Yeah, and just so many good things. They had like Rice Krispie treats. They had pound cake, brownies, marshmallows, like covered in Oreos, and all these things that you can dip into these. Yeah, you have to go. It is
Okay.
an experience
All
in
right.
itself.
Okay.
Now I'm like super hungry. Like,
We'll go with you sometime. How's that?
Yes.
We'll make it a date night.
I love that idea.
All right.
But
Well, hey.
wait, how was your week?
Oh, my week was good.
I'm here
Not
talking
much.
about all the fondue stuff.
Well, because it's fondue.
Fondue. Yeah. So did you do anything fun?
Well, no. I mean, yes. Yes and no. It was kind of a normal week in terms of just not much going on, thankfully. Work's been busy.
Yeah.
We've been changing some things up there in terms of like behind the whole scenes thing. So that was fun. I was like spent Monday just trying to get it, or sorry, Tuesday, because we were off Monday. My company considers a holiday, thankfully.
Yeah, us too.
But Tuesday I got online and I had to like go through and reset everything and was just having issue after issue. So got that all squared away. So we're good.
The most Monday-est
the most Monday-est Tuesday ever.
Those are the worst.
Yep. But other than that, Friday night, went to the chili cook-off here, which we'll talk about here
Yeah.
shortly, because we're going to kind of recap some stuff. There's not as much news coming up, because we had, event after event after event after event. We still have stuff coming up, but there's a little break for connections. So we're going to spend some time here just talking about
all the recaps.
all the stuff we've done. But
Yeah.
do you have a joke for us, or you have something fun we can talk about a little bit?
I sure do.
I mean, not that what we've been talking about hasn't been fun, because it's
been
fondue.
People are like, yes, we get it, Andy
All right,
and Layla.
well, all right.
All right. So today's joke, I thought I would embrace the snowy weather because
yeah,
Michigan decided to go back into winter because we were kind of confused for a few weeks, right?
like, here's a bunch of snow, and then it's going to be fall or spring.
Yeah.
Or fall spring.
Yes. Yep. So now we're back to full on winter. So
Well, but it's not supposed to snow that much. It's just hit this morning and it's supposed to stop. So,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that, I mean, honestly, next weekend would be great if there was snow because it's not really snow camp without snow. But we'll get back to that.
That's true. So today's joke is about a snowman.
Okay.
All right. Did you hear about the lisping snowman?
No.
He came, he thaw, he conquered. This is like one of my favorites.
He thought.
He thought.
All right. It's pretty good. I'll give you that.
Ha.
I told you, new year, new me. I won't just sit there and stare at the camera. I might give a pity.
I need we should start doing like a rating, like,
Ooh,
like
okay.
judging cards.
Consider it done. I can search through them. I'll have 1 through 10. All right.
One that's like, please leave.
No, there might even be negative numbers I can put in there for jokes a bit. Okay. Awesome. All right. Some recent events that we had.
Yes.
Let's go in order. We had the women's event.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty cool potluck from what I heard. People could show up, bring. Were you at that?
I wasn't.
No.
I can't remember why I wasn't able to go.
That's okay. Hey, we can't. Here's the best part about it. We can't make every single event. But we talk about them here. We recap them here.
Yes.
Our social media does a phenomenal job of
thinking
recapping everything. And it makes it look so much better.
Yeah.
Just in terms of how our social media guru makes things look so good. I try to post something on Instagram or whatnot, and I feel like a complete dummy because I'm just like, I liked it a lot, and the
It was
picture
good.
looks like but hers are so great.
In fact, it almost makes it feel like you were there because there's so many great pictures and details and information.
Exactly.
And I saw lots of great things posted about the cook-off.
Yep.
Or not the cook-off. That's later on. But the potluck.
Yep.
Yeah. The food looked delicious and it looked like everybody was having a good time.
Which is what the women's group strives for. I know from being a husband to somebody who's very involved in the women's group.
Very committed.
That their main goal is to create events that people want to go to that are just fun and give women a chance to talk with people they might not get to talk with on Sundays or throughout the week because everybody's busy.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a time where they can set aside, come here, not worry about anything else, and just for a couple hours, just enjoy company, make some new friends.
Exactly. Yep. Be yourself. And it's really important to make relationships outside of, coming to church every Sunday. You don't really get that opportunity, right? Because you shouldn't be talking too much while you're listening to the
Exactly. We should be
sermon.
listening to sometimes we need to shut up and let Dave talk.
Yes, sometimes. But and I'm looking forward to the upcoming events. We have, Sherry and Angie do such a great job planning these things. And then they really are asking for other ladies within the group to participate and collaborate too. So it's just a very welcoming environment.
I know from firsthand experience, if there's something you want to have done and you have a passion for it, talk to them and maybe, they can get it working and they can help you guys spearhead that. So it could be great.
Absolutely.
All right. Then we had the blood drive, which I was able to go to.
I know.
I missed the last one because
saw
I was
the
sick.
pictures.
But thankfully this one, we were there. So it was pretty busy throughout from what I heard most of the day.
Yeah.
I won.
You won the race?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't even close. I sat down
you
and
smoked her.
I sat down to the squeeze 1, 2, 3, and she went, "Ooh, you got a vein." I said, "Oh, all right."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the only thing I got, apparently.
Next time, Angie, we'll get you.
But it was weird. Towards the end of mine, it kept saying slow drip or whatever. So she kept coming over and she's like, "You moved your arm." I was like, "I didn't think I did." So I had to sit there and turn my arm and my shoulder was getting tight. I was like, "Hurry up." But I looked over and it kept going 498, 495, 498, 496, 498, 499. I was like, just let me be done, please. I'm trying to get blood here.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to go this time, and I have seen so many alerts about us being in a crisis with needing blood donation. So thank you to everybody who came out and participated and donated their blood, and can't wait to have the next event. I think we do that about every 8 weeks, I believe,
so.
here at Connection. So if you missed this time, don't worry. There'll be another upcoming opportunity where we can suck your blood.
Yep. So we're going to take a quick break because you've heard us talk long enough. We're going to turn over to Lexi out in the field. She's going to have a question for us and talk to people in our church. And when we come back, we're going to answer that too. Take it over, Lex.
Good morning, Connections. So we are in a series here at Connections called Breathing Room. And today Pastor Dave talked about Sabbath. And he challenged us to take one day a week to practice Sabbath. So we're going to kind of get a read on the people in the church and if they practice Sabbath and kind of their thoughts on that. So we're going to start over here at the Welcome Center. Hey, good morning, guys. I'm coming to talk to you for a little bit. Okay. So our breathing room message series we're doing here. Today, Pastor Dave talks about Sabbath. Do you practice Sabbath?
Well, I do because I work at a school. So it's pretty easy. Sunday's kind of our day to come to church. We usually go to lunch and, just run errands. So Sunday's pretty much our Sabbath.
Yes. And I take a day off during the week. Yes. So I take a day off during the week. I work Saturdays, but then I spend Sunday with my wife.
That's awesome to hear because I feel like Sabbath is something that can oftentimes be so hard. I definitely struggle with that big time because, So
happens that Sunday's usually our Sabbath.
That's awesome. And do you guys feel better when you get your Sabbath in?
It's also a lot easier because we're empty nesters now, so our kids are gone, so it makes it even easier to...
Yeah, so on the Sabbath you can rest and relax and recharge.
Gotcha. Nice. Well, thanks, guys. We're going to go on to the next person. We're going to come over to Laura at the doors. Hey, Laura. Good morning.
No.
Our Connections family just wants to see your lovely smile and your lovely face. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good. All right, so I have a question for you.
I won't know the answer.
It's about you. Okay, so today, Pastor Dave's message, our series about breathing room and kind of making some space, he talks about Sabbath today.
Okay.
Do you take a Sabbath day?
No.
You don't take a Sabbath day.
No, I don't. I should, I guess, and I'll learn today that I probably should.
That's Dave's challenge for you this week is going to be to take that Sabbath day. And I think maybe we'll talk to you next week and see, once you take your Sabbath day, how God's working in your life. And
Okay, I'll be here next week.
we're going to meet back with her next week and see how that goes.
Okay.
I'm going to turn it back over to Andy and Layla. Do you two take a Sabbath day? If so, tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks, Lexi.
Thanks. I take 3. No, I wish.
I'm not sure what this term is. Sabbath
Sabbath.
day? Is that such a thing for a mom?
Oh, for a mom? Probably not. No. But we should.
Yeah.
We're God. I mean, if God, the creator of all things, rested, me as Andy, the creator of nothing, should rest.
Yes.
And follow suit with what God done.
Yeah,
But
I'm really looking forward to hearing
Me
today's
too.
word and
Yep.
The message from Pastor Dave. But yeah, I want to practice this more. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to turn off my mind, even if I am literally, taking a break.
it's hard for me to
constantly-
turn on my mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We are very opposite.
We are very opposite. We work great. So we have some cool stuff coming up. I mentioned I'm not going to be here next week. That's because myself, Perry, and Josh are taking some of our youth group to Winter Blitz. That's there's still spots open. This is grades 6 through 12. The cost is $50, which is way less than half of what camp used to be, which is awesome that we can do that for everybody. There's still limited spaces available, so we want to make sure you guys sign up on our website through the events link. You can register there. If you have any questions about cost or things like that, if cost is an issue, reach out to Josh Ritchie, our youth pastor. We have some possible scholarships that we can help. So we want
wonderful.
As many kids to go to camp, and we don't want anything to get in the way of that as
Yes.
possible.
So this is why you're excited about the snow.
This is why why I was kind of excited about snow. So we also have a new Two Connections dinner coming up with one of our favorite families, the Woolheises.
Yeah.
So they put this on. Why don't you go ahead and quickly talk about it? Because I
Yes.
talked a lot today.
So the next one is coming up on February 10th. You can sign up through our website, my3c.org, or you can go through our church app and click on the events tile. This is an absolutely amazing event to consider. Or if you are relatively new here at Connections, you'll be able to meet other new friends, or maybe even family for that matter, that are just joining Connections for the first time too. There is usually a rotating staff member that will come, so you'll have some time to meet them and in a little bit more of an intimate setting where you have some more time to talk to them one-on-one. So highly recommend that you consider this if you are new. If you have any questions, you can always scan the QR code or, like Andy said earlier, find one of the staff members and pass those questions along.
Yep. And this ties into all the stuff that we've been doing recently, because Connections' goal is we exist to connect as many people as possible to God, to others, and to their purpose in life.
Yes.
And our purpose in life today is to worship God and to enjoy Dave's message about the Sabbath. So why don't you guys pay attention? We're going to turn over to the band. Have an awesome week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Good. Good morning to everybody online. My name is Josh. I'm one of the pastors here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If this is your first or second time with us this morning, as long as you're not sitting in the front row, if you could scan the QR code that's on the chair right in front of you, that would be great. We're going to get some information from you, and we're not going to hound you with any texts or any emails. It's simply to get to know you better. And whenever you leave service today, you can go through those double doors right out there, and we have a gift made just for you. Now, I also want to remind you guys about something that we do in the middle of our first and our second service. It's called our pre-show. Our pre-show has a bunch of news and information about things that are going on at our church. That's posted on Monday morning on YouTube and Facebook, where you guys can go and watch that and make sure you're keeping up to date on everything. Lexi, Layla, Andy, Elizabeth, they do a fantastic job on that show, so I highly recommend you guys check it out. But at this time, you all stand and join us in worship.
All right, thanks, Josh. We are so excited about what God is doing right here in this place. And it's so amazing that we can come together and we can join our voices and we can worship the one and true and only God. He's such a good God. Anybody else like the snow that's out there? Yeah. It's still winter time. We can appreciate and enjoy the snow. I know it's a little slippery out there. But everything that God gives us is a blessing. From the snow on the ground to each new day when His mercies are new every morning. And His grace is in abundance and it's poured out for you and for me. This God that we serve deserves our appreciation and our praise. And this morning we are going to give it to Him. And we're going to sing this out. Here we go. I can't count the times I've called your name some broken night. You showed up and bashed me up like you do every time. I get amnesia. I forget that you keep coming around. There ain't no way you'll ever let me down. Good God Almighty, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know where I'd be without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me, is He good? He's good. Tell me, is He God? He's God. He is good, God Almighty. You say your love goes on forever, that your mercy never stops. Why would I assume you be somebody that you're not? Like the sun in the morning, I know you're gonna be there every day. So what on earth could make me be afraid? Good God Almighty, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. sun goes down. Love him in the morning, love him in the noontime, love him when the sun goes down. Good God Almighty, I hope you find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know where I'd be without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me, is he good? Tell me, is he God? He is good, God Almighty. Yeah! Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down. Yeah! I love that. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down. Guys, we serve a God who wants to be with us all the time. From the morning to the noon to the evening, through the night, he is here with us. We are surrounded by a God who loves us. And this God that we serve, he is all powerful. And through him, all things are possible. There is nothing that our God can't do. And it's this God, this all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God we worship this morning. The day was silent, surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? Bright as disappointment, the Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the place to make a dead man walk again. Hope in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Yes! Resurrection power runs in my veins too. Yeah, I believe there's an
Just as the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden, what happens when God says move? Our God is power. Our God is good. Our God is Jesus. And we freely lift up that name right now. Let's sing this out together. Here we go.
Are you past the point of weary? Is your burden weighing heavy? Is it all too much to carry? Let me tell you about my Jesus. Do you feel that empty feeling? 'Cause shame's done all it's stealing, and you're desperate for some healing. Let me tell you about my Jesus. He makes a way where there ain't no way. Rises up from an empty grave. Ain't no sin that he can't save. Let me tell you about my Jesus. His love is strong and his grace is free. And the good news is I know that he can do for you what he's done for me. Let me tell you about my Jesus. Let my Jesus change your life. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen. You can wipe away the tears from broken dreams and wasted years. Tell the past to disappear. Oh, let me tell you about my Jesus. All the wrong turns that you would go and undo if you could. Who can work it out for your good? Let me tell you about my Jesus. He makes a way where there ain't no way. Rises up from an empty grave. Ain't no sin that he can't save. Let me tell you about my Jesus. His love is strong and his grace is free. And the good news is I know that he can do for you what he's done for me. Let me tell you about my Jesus. And let my Jesus change your life. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen. Who would take my cross to Calvary, pay the price for all my guilty? Who would care that much about me? Let me tell you about my Jesus. Oh, he makes a way where there ain't no way. Rises up from an empty grave. Ain't no sinner that he can't save. Let me tell you about my Jesus. His love is strong and his grace is free. And the good news is I know that he can do for you what he's done for me. Let me tell you about my Jesus. Let my Jesus change your life. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen. Well, hallelujah. 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 And let my Jesus change your life. I will tremble at no other name. My heart surrenders to no other reign. I will bow at no other throne. And rest my heart in no other home. Let these hands lift no other crown. And let these knees fall on no other ground. And draw these eyes from gold that won't shine. You turn this life from water into wine. Lord, I tremble. I tremble. highest of the night. You show your power in downtown city lights. You're taller than the highest of the hills, and stronger than the walls we try to build. You blind me with the beauty of your face, and draw me close with your divine embrace. You speak to me with healing in your words, and fix the things I didn't know were hurt. Lord, I tremble in your presence, in your presence. Lord, I tremble, in your presence, in your presence. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. To you alone be praise. And who can take the place of? And what compares to your love? For everything that you've done. To you alone be praise. And who can take the place of? And what compares to your love? For everything that you've done. To you alone be praised. You invented all of time and space. You called the morning and midnight into place. Made the mountains and tamed the wildest seas. But still you set your holy eyes on me. And I will always live in wonder of the fact that I awake your jealous love. Eternity will almost be enough. Eternity will almost be enough. Lord, I tremble in your presence, in your presence. Oh Lord, I tremble in your presence, in your presence. I will always live in wonder of the fact that I awake your jealous love. Eternity will almost be enough. Eternity will almost be enough. I will always live in wonder of the fact that I awake your jealous love. Eternity will almost be enough. Eternity will almost be enough. Lord, I tremble, Lord, in your presence, in your presence. Lord, I tremble, in your presence, in your presence.
You guys can have a seat.
Good morning. Hey, welcome to Connections. Delighted that you're here in the room, joining us online. Going to be a beautiful day for sure. This is a picture of Bronnie Ware. She was a palliative care specialist in Australia. Pain management, particularly end-of-life pain management. She spent so many years working with patients in the last few months, weeks, hours of life. Because she was a compassionate human being and loved to develop relationships with these people, she would ask them the same kinds of questions. She would say, do you have any regrets? Anything you wish you could do over, if you could do over life again? She ended up writing a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Powerful book. There was one common regret that every single male patient said. Everyone, without exception. And do you know what it was? It was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Every guy, wish I hadn't worked so hard. Now, the key word there is the word so. See, hard work is good. Hard work is necessary to accomplish anything in life that actually matters. We know this. If it matters, it's going to be hard, and you got to work hard to get it done. Hard work honors God. Hard work is a key to being satisfied with who you are and with what you've done with your life. So hard work is good. But hard work can be a little bit like riding an elephant. You see, when you're in charge, it's awesome. You can get amazing things done. But when it's in charge, it's disaster. It ends up ruining things and killing people. I am amazed at how many people in Western culture are riding an out-of-control elephant, their work. And it's on a rampage, and it's trampling everything around them, and they don't even know it. Their kids are growing distant. Their marriage is unraveling. Their spirituality has vanished. Their character has eroded. But they keep thinking, as long as I'm producing at work, as long as I'm on track, everything must be okay. When it's not okay. Work is controlling your life. God never meant it to be that way. Do you know there's a principle taught to us by Jesus that when we practice it, helps us to keep work life under control, helps us to be productive and satisfied in our work, but not have work dominate and control our lives. And that principle is the observing of Sabbath. We're going to talk about it this morning. We're in a series here at Connections called Breathing Room. We're discovering how to let Jesus set the right pace in our lives and also create sufficient space in our lives for the things that matter most. In particular, we're looking at 3 areas in which we Americans tend to live without any margin. Our schedules, our work-life balance, and our money. When we let Jesus set the pace, and we let Jesus create space or margin in our schedules and our work-life balance and our finances, it decreases the stress. It increases the peace, and it gives us room to enjoy life. Because life is always better with breathing room. Today we want to talk about putting margin in our work work-life balance. So we want to talk about the observing of Sabbath. The observing of a Sabbath. Now, what in the world's a Sabbath? Right? Isn't that a Jewish term? Does Sabbath mean Saturday? Is Sabbath maybe some kind of religious holy day? What is Sabbath? Well, let's look at some words that were spoken 3,500 years ago to a different culture in a different nation, but have profound impact on the way you and I can live our lives in a more healthy way. These words are recorded in the book of Exodus, and there we're told this: remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work. For in 6 days the Lord created the heavens and the earth, the seas and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. There are three powerful clues as to what a Sabbath is in this ancient text. First, let's notice that it is a day to stop. Just stop. The Hebrew word translated Sabbath is Shabbat. And the word Shabbat means stop, cease. You know what? If one of your kids is out of control or your spouse is nagging, just look at them and go, Shabbat. Stop, cease. That's what the word means. And in this case, it's a cessation from working. It's a 24-hour work-free period of time. Stop. Second is a day of rest. The word rest means to settle down, to quiet oneself. It's what God did after 6 days of these bursts of energy and creativity. And on the seventh day, he quieted down. He rested. Now, what's fascinating about this term is that whenever it's applied to creatures rather than the Creator, it also has the idea of re-energizing, of getting strength back. Third clue in this passage, it is a day to worship. It's a day to the Lord. It is a holy day. Holy day, what does that mean? The word holy simply means set apart for God and his purposes. It's a day to worship. So when we take the clues embedded in this ancient text, I think we can offer this legitimate definition of what observing a Sabbath is. A Sabbath is taking one day completely off from work every week to recharge and refocus physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's observing a Sabbath. One day completely off, no work. And on that day, I'm going to recharge and refocus my whole life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Did you know Sabbath is one of the rhythms that God designed into the universe that are intended to help his creation flourish? There are so many rhythms. Think about nature's rhythms. Every day the sun comes up and then the sun goes down. There's daytime and there's nighttime. And it's an ever recurring rhythm that governs activity. There's seasons, right? There's the warm season and the cold season. There's the growing season and the dormant season. And they come and they go and they come and they go. If you live at the equator, it's a rainy season and a dry season, and it comes and goes and comes and goes. There's a rhythm that governs the way we live on the planet. It's nature's rhythms. Did you know we have internal rhythms, biological rhythms? Every day we're awake and then we sleep. And we're awake, and then we sleep. It's a rhythm of life. And even our waking and our sleeping has rhythms. Did you know that? Circadian rhythms, internal biological mechanisms in every human being, make it so that when we're awake, there's a period where we're more energetic and productive, and a little less energetic and productive, and a little more, and a little less, and a little more, and less, and that's how we move through our waking hours. And did you know that our sleep has rhythm? We go from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep. Usually earlier in the night, there's a little bit more deep sleep. It recharges the body. Later in the night, a little more REM sleep. It recharges the mind. But there's a rhythm and a pattern. And nature's rhythms that God created and our internal biological rhythms that God created are all intended to help govern the flow of life so we flourish. Get this, Sabbath is a rhythm. It's a rhythm God created on the seventh day. And we are to respect the rhythm of Sabbath if we're going to fully flourish as human beings on this planet. Now think for a minute about the difference between the average cultural rhythm in America and God's rhythm. What's the rhythm in American culture? I think here's what the rhythm is in our culture. The rhythm is work, 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 vacation. Oh, God, I love vacation. Thank you so much. And then when vacation is over, what do we start doing again? We work and 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 oh, vacation finally. Woo! Vacation again. And we do that over and over, year after decade. It's the way we do it in America, baby. It's our rhythm. Contrast that to God's rhythm, the Christian rhythm. It's work, Sabbath. Work, Sabbath. Work, Sabbath. Work, vacation. Now, doesn't that just feel better? That's the rhythm that God has designed human beings to employ, to flow with, to govern the way their life works. The contrast between our culture's rhythm and the Christian rhythm highlights the first of three reasons why it is so incredibly important that we observe a Sabbath. The first reason is observing a Sabbath keeps work from dominating your life. God intended for work, hard work, good work, to be a big part of your life. He never intended work to dominate your life, ever. Does anybody know what kudzu is? Yeah, it's this invasive species of plant. It was brought over to the United States from the Far East in order to feed cattle. But they soon discovered two things. Number one, cows hate it. You'd think they would have checked that out first. Cows hate it. In fact, no animals will eat it. Number two, it grows like crazy. Kudzu will grow 1 foot a day. In a summer, it can take over a field. It can take over a forest. And when it does, everything is covered with this lush green canopy, but everything underneath of it is dying and dead. It kills off everything. When kudzu dominates, things die. When work dominates our life, things die. We give our very best to our work, and we give leftovers to God, our family, our friends. And they die. It happens. Did you know there's only one way to get rid of kudzu? There's only one way. Nothing will eat it, and pesticides won't kill it. The only way to do it is to find the vine root at the ground, cut it off at the ground, and then treat the stump with a special kind of herbicide. It's the only way. And if you do that, you can kill off kudzu, but it's the only way. Did you know that the only way we're going to keep work from dominating our lives and keep a proper work-life balance is if we practice Sabbath? It cuts the domination of work off at its root so that work stays in the proper place in life. That's why observing the Sabbath is so incredibly important. Here's the second reason why I think it's so important. It's because observing the Sabbath makes us stronger, longer. It makes us stronger, longer. It increases the quality of our days and the quantity of our days. It enables us to be able to be more productive over a longer period of time when we observe the Sabbath. This is how it works. Do you know why Sabbath makes us stronger? It's because it turns stress into increased capacity. It turns stress into strength. Maybe this analogy will help. There is a process that scientists have identified in the human body, the muscles in particular, and it's called supercompensation. Here's what it means. When we stress our muscles, they don't just get tired, they actually tear. Microscopic tears in our muscles. And that sounds bad. But when we rest after the stress, our muscles repair themselves, not just to their previous state, but to a stronger state. The key to getting strong is stress and recover, and stress and recover, and stress and recover. And all of that stress gets turned into strength while we're resting. Our souls, our emotions, our capacity work just like our muscles. We encounter stress. Did you know there's no stress-free way to move through life? God never wanted us to avoid stress. He said stress is a part of living. And that stress has a wear and tear to it. But if we'll recover appropriately from our stress, our souls, our will, our emotions get built up stronger than they were before the stress. And over the course of time, it's stress, recover, and our souls get stronger and stronger and stronger and greater able not only to withstand stuff, but do stuff and be a righteous influence in the world. It turns stress into increased capacity. Do you know what Sabbath also does? It keeps us healthy for the long haul. By giving us a chance to recover from the stress, it means that we can build ourselves up rather than breaking ourselves down. So consequently, we can live stronger, longer than if we don't observe a Sabbath. There's this fascinating episode from the life of Jesus. And he and his closest companions, the 12 disciples, they were in this really, really busy season. Things got so hectic. The demands on them were so great that Jesus observes this and he says something so insightful. It's found in the Gospel of Mark. Here's what we find. It says, then because so many people were coming and going that they didn't even have a chance to eat, Jesus said to them, the 12, come with me by yourselves, just you guys, to a quiet place. Time out. For those of you that were here last week, quiet place is eremos, wilderness, desert, solitary place, the place we go alone to be able to interact with God. He says, I want you to come by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. You see, Jesus knew that as human beings, we operate on internal batteries and they get drained over the course of time. And we will stop working unless the batteries get recharged. And they're recharged when we rest. And Sabbath gives us the opportunity to rest and recharge so we can function at full capacity. There's this amazing compound power of getting stronger for longer periods of time that is amazing. It turns us into amazing powerhouse human beings. And maybe the best way to understand that is by looking at the principle of compound interest. Let's do a little imagination game. Let's say you were given $100,000. First of all, doesn't that feel good? There's $100,000, man. And you had two options. You had to invest it. Option number one was to take the $100,000 and invest it at 25% annual. Is that like, whoo? Like last year we lost 25%. You could make 25% a year, and you'd have for 5 years. Do you know that after 5 years, your $100,000 would become over $300,000? It's like you tripled your investment. And now you've got $300,000 to live on, to use, and enjoy. Awesome. But there's another option. Here's the other option. You're also given $100,000. But this investment opportunity is only 5%. It's 5 times less than the other one. That's a lot. But it's for a longer period of time. It's 40 years. The average American's work life is just over 40 years. Did you know that in 40 years at that little 5% interest rate, you ended up with over $700,000? You would have like almost $750,000. You would have over 3 times as much, or I should say over 2 times as much as the other investment. And what this shows us is the key is not just gaining more, but the longer period of time you gain more, even small improvements pay off more in the end. When we are able to grow stronger week after week for a longer period of time, we become ever more powerful as a human being. And that means we produce more. We have more righteous influence in our homes, with our families, in our church, in our community, in our work, and in our world. We become weighty, substantial human beings that are able to accomplish the max that we're actually capable of accomplishing. Look, Jesus always takes the long view, and so should you and me. And by practicing in the Sabbath, it seems like we're getting less done in the moment, and we are, but we're getting stronger for longer. And that's where the huge payoff always comes. There's a third reason I want to share with you this morning why practicing the Sabbath is so incredibly important. And it's because observing a Sabbath, get this, reminds us of who and whose we are. Apart from the practice of Sabbath, as we've defined it, we will lose sight of our identity. We will no longer be true to who we really are, and we will diminish and impoverish what our life could have been. In the book of Deuteronomy, that's the 5th book of the Bible, it repeats almost word for word what we read in the 2nd book of the Bible, the book of Exodus, on the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath, work 6 days, take the 7th day off, holy to the Lord. Word for word, the same thing, but it gives an additional reason why to observe the Sabbath. Here's the reason that it gives. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. He was looking at those people and going, hey, you know what? You used to be slaves. You remember that? And when you were slaves, you had no control over your life. All of your work was futile. It went nowhere. When you were slaves, you had to do whatever you were told. And when you were slaves, you never got a day off. When you were a slave, your only value is what you could produce when you were at work. And they sucked everything out of you until you died. Then they threw your body in the desert and everybody carried on. Remember when you were slaves? You're not a slave anymore. You're not simply only as valuable as what you produce at work. Now you are children of the Most High God. Now you have meaning and purpose, and I'm going to inhabit you so that you can change the world and bless it. And we're going to celebrate your freedom by taking a day off every week. And we're going to stop working, and we're going to be reminded, I'm free. I'm not just the sum total of what I produce at work. I'm a child of God, and I am called to do things that matter and that enrich my life and the lives of those that I touch. And might I suggest to you that the beauty of Sabbath in our day is it reminds us we're not slaves anymore. We used to be slaves to sin. We used to be slaves to darkness, doing things we knew were wrong and self-destructive. We used to live lives that were futile. We could produce stuff, but it never amounted to anything. And so many people looked at us, and our only value is what we could produce. But now we're children, sons and daughters of the one true and living God. We have inherent value as human beings. We're called to partner with Him to do a work in the world that changes everything in the here and now and for all eternity. And we celebrate our freedom every week by taking the day off and reminding ourselves, this is who I am, and this is whose I am. And when you know who you are and whose you are, it will give you the courage to do what seems impossible. And under the blessing of God, change everything. One of the most famous stories in the Bible, David and Goliath. You know the story. Little shepherd boy takes some food to his brothers that have gone off to war. And there's his brothers and his army, and the other side of this big valley is the invading army. And every day from the invading army, this 9-foot-tall mixed martial arts champion of the world walks in the valley and says, give me a man, we'll fight one-on-one. Anybody want to fight? Everybody was afraid. They wouldn't do it. This little teenage shepherd boy shows up, sees what's going on, hears the challenge and goes, nobody's going? I'll go. And he ends up walking into the valley to meet the giant and takes him down with a slingshot. Where did David get the courage to walk out in the valley to start with? And the answer is, he knew who he was, and he knew whose he was. See, before this ever happened, back when he was tending sheep, he was anointed by God to be the next king of Israel. He knew his destiny. He knew he was meant to change the world. He knew that he belonged to God, and that God would bless him in every righteous endeavor, no matter how dangerous or difficult it was. And because David knew who he was, and he knew who he was, it gave him the courage to walk in that valley and take the giant down. Same thing happens to you and to me. When we know who we are and whose we are, we have the courage to walk in the valley and face any giant this world brings our way. I heard a statement this week that just rocked me. It went like this: when God puts a Goliath in front of you, there must be a David inside of you. And there is. Here's everything I've tried to say this morning. A Sabbath was just taking a day completely off every week in order to recharge and refocus physically, emotionally, spiritually. And why is it so important? Well, it keeps work from dominating our lives. It makes us stronger, longer. It reminds us of who and whose we are. In light of these realities, here's my challenge to you this week. Get into the Sabbath rhythm. Make a commitment in this moment that you're going to observe a Sabbath so that you can reap the benefits that God designed a Sabbath to bring. Some real practical tips. Here's how you can practice a Sabbath. First, designate a day off. It doesn't matter what day it is. Seriously, it doesn't matter when. The principle of Sabbath, we're not talking about the Old Testament law. We're talking about a principle that governs human behavior. You get to pick the day. Pick one day and then put safeguards around the day and plan it before it gets there so you know what you're going to do. But you pick the day. What day you're going to take completely off work to refocus and recharge. And safeguard that day and plan it. Second, recharge your whole self on that day. Recharge your body. Sleep in. Take a nap. Chill. Maybe for some of you, what you need to do to refresh your body is you need to move a little bit. But find a way to recharge your body. Recharge your emotions. Do you know how our emotions are recharged? Mainly by experiencing positive ones. So here's an idea. Make a happy list. What are the things you enjoy doing? What are the things that delight your soul? What are people you love hanging around? Make your plan to do those things and maybe be with those people. Is it music? Is it nature? Is it hanging around family, kids, grandkids, friends, whatever the case may be? Is it a hobby? Do things that delight your soul. Recharge yourself emotionally and spiritually. See, if you're not recharging spiritually, you're not practicing Sabbath. Time dedicated to just drawing near God, to focus on Him, hear from Him, and respond to Him. A day of letting Him remind you, this is who you are. This is whose you are. This is why you're here. This is what I'll do. So important. This is how we practice Sabbath. My desire for all of us here is that we will be productive and satisfied at work, but work will never dominate our lives. That we will be stronger, longer, and grow into the powerhouses God intended. That we will always know who we are and whose we are. So we'll have the courage to seize every opportunity God places in front of us and take down every giant that opposes us. And for all this to happen, we need to Sabbath. Let's do it together. Father, thank you for the opportunities of this morning. And I pray that your word will work in us and that your sweet Spirit will move us to do what He wants us to do. I ask these things in His name. Amen.
Amen. What a challenge, huh? By raise of hand, how many of you have ever struggled with implementing a Sabbath in your life? All right, some of you. My hand's up because I have struggled with this. Man, I work hard and I like to work and I like to see the accomplishment of that. And so for those of you who are also honest enough to say that you struggle with it, if you're watching online, you can tell us too. Man, sometimes the reason why it's hard is because we try to do it all by ourselves. We try to say, okay, man, it's the new year or we're doing this new series or whatever, and I just know that I need to rest because God has put this in place for me. And so then we pick a day and we do all this stuff, but we do it all by ourselves. And then we start to find ourselves slipping into those old habits of just working 7 days a week again and maybe taking a little bit of time off to go to a church service or to hang out with my family. But then I start working again that day. And the reason why is because that's our habit. That's what we're used to doing. And so we get into that rhythm because, it's just what we've always done. And because we haven't had anyone there to help us and to remind us and to hold us accountable, we tend to just kind of go back to our old habits. That's one of the reasons why we encourage people to get connected with each other here. because we need each other to help each other grow closer to God and to do better at following him. And so I encourage you guys to go and check out our connection groups, because this is one of those places where you can find other people who are trying to follow Jesus and are trying to implement these things as well. These are the people that you can say, hey, I'm struggling with putting this Sabbath into my life. Could you help me out? Could you maybe contact me on such and such day when I'm trying to do my Sabbath and ask me if I'm actually doing it? And it doesn't have to be Sabbath, right? It could be anything that we're struggling with or that we're trying to improve in. That's what these groups are partially for. That's who we are as a church. We're called Connections because we're trying to connect more with God and with each other and our God-given purposes. And so we take about 3 times a year to really focus on getting connected in these groups of people who also love and are wanting to follow Jesus. And so if you haven't gotten connected in one of those, I encourage you to do so. You can find all those on our app or on our website. If you aren't exactly sure where that is or how to do it, you can stop by our Welcome Center. They'd be happy to help you with that as well. And so those are some options for that. There are different groups for every different age, and there are lots of different times and availabilities, different stages of life that you can go and check those groups out. So there's probably something for you. I just encourage you to do that. And if you're here for one of the very first times and you're just not quite ready to get connected with a group yet, we still would love to connect with you. Please scan that QR code right in front of you. We've got a gift for you, not only the first time you choose to do that, but also your second time. And so the gift does get a little bit better each time. We'd love to be able to answer any questions you might have and just get to know you. And so all of those things that we do here, they happen because of the generosity of our people. And so if you're one of those people who continues to give, thank you so much for doing that, because you do make it possible for us to do this. And so if you'd like to continue to do that, you can give on our app or our website, or you can give at the boxes in the back. Thank you guys so much for being here today. We look forward to seeing you all again next week. We'll see you all later.
When I was searching, your love was never far